All right, guys, so we're live. Wanted to talk today about the whole Justin Bieber situation. This posted about it yesterday, and like, oh my God, you guys were just like, flies on crap with commenting on that post and sharing it, so I appreciate that. But what I found interesting is all these armchair experts coming out of the woodwork, right? Like all these people were like, oh, it was Ramsay Hunt syndrome. It was caused by a virus. It was caused by a virus, guys. Like, okay, you have Ramsay Hunt syndrome and you have Bell's palsy, which are pretty much appear exactly the same. It's paralysis of the facial nerve, which doesn't affect the eyes, but it does affect the face. And so, a lot of these people are coming out of the woodwork saying, well, it wasn't caused by the jab because it's Ramsay Hunt syndrome. It was caused by the varicella virus, which is chickenpox / shingles, which may or may not be true. But of course, when it looks like Ramsay Hunt syndrome, they would never, great smoothie. They would never come out and say Bell's palsy, because Bell's palsy is going to set off alarm bells. People are like, oh, Bell's palsy. Oh, what? 15,000 people have reported that to bears as a side effect? Like, you might want to look into that, right? So no, they're gonna name some obscure syndrome that's caused by a virus, right? And say it was that, right? And of course, so you guys know, like pretty much everybody has deactivated varicella virus living in their nerve roots. Pretty much anybody who's ever had a chickenpox infection, which I got as a kid, you're going to have it there. And under a very stressful situation, that can reactivate and hit a nerve root. And when it hits the facial nerve, that's when it's Ramsay Hunt syndrome. And you see these ophthalmologists coming out of the woodwork being like, hey, I've been in practice for 30 years. And yeah, so they changed the name. Never done that before, Robin. Yeah, who would have thunk it, right? Can't be calling it polio. It's transverse myelitis or acute flaccid myelitis because can't be using that polio word, right? So same thing here. Can't be using that Bell's palsy. That would set off too many alarm bells, right? Can't be saying that the wife had a stroke or a TIA or a blood clot. No, it was caused by a birth defect or like birth control, right? Nothing to see here. I know it looks exactly like the stuff caused by the jab. And, the Beeb said you can't show up to my show unless you had the jab. You've had 3, 4, 5 of them, whatever the number is y'all are up to now. No. We want to make up these other rare conditions that nobody's ever heard of, right? And that are like so rare that it's like, it must be the super rare thing, right? All these rare diseases are cover-ups for the you-know-what injury. And so then what do they do? Right? They put out the propaganda, right? Here's what you need to know about Ramsay Hunt syndrome, right? And then you can sound real smart when you parrot it, right? Because you're like, oh, Ramsay Hunt syndrome affects the nerve roots, and it's caused by the varicella virus, which is actually the chickenpox and the shingles virus. And I'm very educated about this because I went to science school, and I can read propaganda articles on the internet that corroborate my personal point of view and prove to me that it was not caused by the jibbity-jabbity, right? And so they put out these little articles and say, oh, this is what you need to know about Ramsay Hunt syndrome. And they're going to sound real smart when you parrot it out to those QAnon crazy conspiracy theorists who don't believe in science, because you believe in science, even though that's not a methodology. Even though that's not a belief system, even though that's not a religion, even though that's not a philosophy, it's a methodology of testing a hypothesis. You believe in it. You believe in the pharmaceutical industry. The scientists, because you're a good person. And you're going to read this article and it's going to tell you how sciencey you are because you agree with the narrative. Right? And people just eat this stuff up, right? They're like, well, I'm going to tell all the anti-vaxxers about Ramsay Hunt syndrome and how educated I am and the things I learned in science school. Propaganda articles written by Farm on the internet, but, I'm smart and repeat things with long names and Latin names, and I sound smart, and they're just dumb and watch QAnon videos and don't know anything. Never mind that Bell's palsy has 15,000 reports to theirs. Oh, theirs is a bad database. It's a bad database run by a bad man who happens to be the FDA and the CDC who don't do a good job with it, and that's why it's bad, because they don't actually, do good data analysis on there, even though it's the FDA and the CDC who I'm supposed to trust, but I can write it off because it's, bad science, even though it's done by the people that are supposed to be good science, and I don't know what to believe anymore, but it can't be the jabs, you guys. It can't be that. I mean, it's the most obvious thing. I mean, Ramsay Hunt syndrome is much more rare than Bell's palsy, and Bell's palsy is a side effect of the jibby jabby, so it can't be that. It can't be the most logical conclusion. Someone had a stroke, a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. Ooh, now I sound smart because I use the word transient ischemic attack, right? Well, it's not a stroke, it's not a blood clot, it's caused by a patent a hole in the heart that she was born with and never knew till she was 25 years old that she had it, right? Ooh, that's a lot more believable than, all these people are getting blood clots. Johnson & Johnson gets recalled 2 times for blood clots. Like, they pull it off the market temporarily, and then like a year later, they pull it off again and be like, yeah, we're actually, the blood clot thing was like, yeah, we're, mea culpa on that one. But in this case, in Hailey Bieber's case, definitely not caused by that, right? Science, okay? Birth control pills, right? Because pharma is bad when they make the birth control pills and they make the boner pills and the antidepressants, but when they make those injectable disease-preventing gene therapies, that's the other part of pharma where the angels sing and the babies spew out rainbows and the unicorns dance. That's the part of pharma that makes the vaccines. So I hope you guys aren't falling for this stuff, but just realize that a lot of people are, right? And a lot of people get these narratives that just propaganda put. Oh, here's what you need to know about why that's not sciencey and true. Here's a much more rare disease you ain't never heard of that's got a really long Latin name, and you're gonna go out there and you're gonna pronounce it and you're gonna spout it out and you're gonna sound way smarter than everybody else, right? Ooh, let's see. What do we got here? I have a damning VAERS report that they pulled from the database at the beginning of the shots. A doctor had a massive brain aneurysm, and her sister, who's a doctor, reports. Oh yeah, things are getting pulled off VAERS, guys. This video is probably going to get nuked. I'm probably going to get a strike for this, but yes, we have record of them deleting a whole bunch of VAERS entries, which they're not supposed to do. I mean, this is just the game that they play. Like, they really think they're actually not that smart. They're pretty dumb, and they think that you're dumber than them. Okay, and so it's like it's like Captain Obvious, right? Bell's palsy and like a blood clot. No. Ramsay Hunt syndrome and a rare heart condition, congenital. I say the word congenital, it makes me sound smart. Con meaning with or at, and genital meaning at the beginning. So congenital, at the beginning, at birth. She had a hole in her heart, and then 25 years later, just as a coincidence, after she got 3 clot shots, she got a clot. Okay. Saliva test shows I got very low cortisol. Do you think raw diet helps restoring it? Okay, it might help, but if you've got really low cortisol, your hormones are out of whack. You're way too stressed out is what's going on, okay? And so that is something that you fixes with diet, but more so lifestyle. Getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, getting enough fresh air. Because you can eat healthy all day long, but if you're stressed out all the time and not exercising and not meditating and not sleeping, you're still going to have health issues, right? And cortisol being off being definitely lifestyle problem, okay? Nobody ever heard of Ramsay Hunt syndrome until yesterday, but suddenly everybody's an expert on it, right? Because it's you get to use a hyphenated name, which is cooler in intellectual culture, and then you get to talk about another virus, it was caused by a virus. Okay, what's in the smoothie? We got 6 mangoes, 6 bananas, half a head of organic greens, okay? Another thing, if you watch the Bieber video, go back and watch it, okay? Because you're going to see him, okay, this is like NLP and psychology, but when he says it's from a virus, he goes like that. He looks up and to the right, okay? Now, all right, in psychology, okay, in physiology, when people are looking up to the left, they're remembering something. They're remembering something from the past, okay? But when they're remembering an image, okay? When they look up and to the right, they're making up an image in their mind, or they're making stuff up in their mind. So that's usually a cue that someone's lying. So when he says it's from a virus and looks up like that, dead giveaway, he's making it up, okay? So yeah, go back and watch the video. That was one thing I noticed. I was like, oh, busted, Bieber, busted, And it's just like it's such a blatantly obvious lie now. It's like that people are just jumping through crazy hoops. Okay, so you're wasting. He is full of S. What do you think caused it? I think we've implied what that is. It starts with a V. Okay, it starts with a CVV. So I think it's pretty obvious. All right, is it Ramsay-Hunt syndrome? Maybe, maybe not. But it's definitely Bell's palsy, and Ramsay-Hunt syndrome is essentially a subset of Bell's palsy. And we've got reports at the yin yang. I mean, wasn't it even like the health minister, Theresa Tam of Canada, like showed up with Bell's palsy one day, and they're like, nope, definitely not caused by the thing, just random, you just get it. Which is true. Like, you can randomly just get Bell's palsy. Like a lot of times the cause isn't known, but it's been reported so many times after, this thing that it's kind of obvious, like, probably that, right? And it's like, how did the herpes zoster... No, is it herpes? No, it's varicella zoster. Sorry, wrong virus. How did it get reactivated? Well, it's usually stress or some event that triggers it, or some event that attenuates, weakens the immune system, and then boom, virus comes out and pops up. What could weaken the immune system, right? Well, I don't know, maybe a drug that's designed to agitate it? Just possibly, right? Throwing it out there. Thoughts on Durian Rider sugar protocol? That guy jumped the shark a long time ago. I'm not a fan of putting sugar in your food. I think that's ridiculous. This is ridiculous, putting oil in your food. I don't add any sugar to my food. I don't think you should either. I think it's a bad idea. I think you should just eat fruits and vegetables straight up. Let's see. What do we got? Both my arms and left phrenic nerve. Oh, yeah. Jennifer here has got a crazy story. In fact, Jennifer, sometime you got to come on here and do a live together. But she was injured by the tetanus, thingy. And so phrenic nerve, which goes from like C3, C4, C5 up here down to the diaphragm, keeps you alive. One of those got paralyzed. Thankfully, the other one didn't. Otherwise, she'd be dead, right? Couldn't breathe. And so, same neurological damage as Bieber, but in a different area. Jennifer, don't ever stop telling your story. Someone says they got the shingles after the vid, right? Because the immune system got attenuated, and that varicella virus that was like living in the nerve root popped out, right? So totally conceivable. I think I'm gonna wrap this up, guys, unless there's any more questions or anything you want to throw at me. But I just kind of wanted to, Jennifer, pain with every breath. I'm sorry. I just want to throw this out there and let you be aware that basically every time one of these stories breaks, there's always the like, here's the sciencey thing you need to parrot to sound smart and say why this isn't true, right? Don't fall for it, okay? And know that most of these people are coming on trying to sound smart, like have no background, no nothing, right? And they're just parroting like absolute nonsense that really doesn't stand the test of any logic. But when they're in their little like echo chamber of, oh, follow the science, like they think they're really smart, and then they actually have to get in an actual debate with someone who knows stuff like me. And they're like, they don't even want to debate. I think one pro-vax doctor has taken me up on an offer to debate. And that was a freaking disaster. But anyway, they really don't want to, they just want to fly by and like not actually engage because they know they can't win. So let's see. My wife and I are on a 60-day juice cleanse. Have you ever done one? Any advice or sharing? I have. The longest I've done on juice is 7 days. I think 60 is kind of pushing it. It depends on like what you're trying to do. I'd be more of a fan of like using a shorter juice cleanse to transition into a healthier lifestyle rather than like constantly being on juice. I don't think it's like really that sustainable for long-term health. 60 is kind of long. I think you can, if you got crazy stuff going on, you maybe do 30 max. But if you're just doing it just to do it, just for the ride, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend like transitioning onto a raw food diet with fiber, rather than doing some crazy 60-day juice cleanse. But anyway, it's just take it day by day. And if you're not feeling good, and like you really have, no reason to be going any longer, just end it when it's time. Like don't Yeah, I want to remove mucoid plaque. Okay, well, that comes out with just healthy eating too. You don't need to do juice to do that. Okay, out of 542 homes, condos, over 20 people have died where I live. Jeez. Okay, wow. All right, well, that about wraps it up, guys. I'm going to do another live later this week, but it's been fun rapping at you, and catch you next time. I have a special gift for you. The Autoimmune Recovery Blueprint is my free 11-page guide, which will give you the tips to get started on healing from autoimmune disease naturally using diet and lifestyle. This blueprint is everything I wish I'd had back in 2010 when I came down with an autoimmune disease and doctors couldn't help me. Everything you need to begin or accelerate your healing journey. Free when you sign up for my email list.